lovers, the moon is a thing of beauty. But to this man it is a deadly curse. When the moon is full, this miserable wretch turns into a hairy, snarling half-man, half-beast. Prowls the night, his fangs thirsty for human blood. He is a werewolf.
Hello, and welcome to the Werewolf by Night podcast, the show where we talk about Marvel's number one lycanthrope, Jack Russell, a.k.a. the Werewolf, a.k.a. the Beast, a.k.a. the Shaggy One. I'm your co-host, Matt Howell.
I'm your other co-host, Jacob Balcom.
Thanks for joining us this week, listeners. Before we dive into the issue at hand, we're going to talk about a little field trip that we took.
We went to a theater together to see a movie for the first time since the beginning of the pandemic. So it was a big deal. We went to the Joy Cinema in Tigard, and we saw Jaws 3D in 3D.
My first time.
Yeah, me too.
I was really happy that it was like an actual 3D print, like they had the modern glasses. So this was not, I would have been happy with a beat up one with anaglyph red and blue, red and cyan. But this one was actually like a modern one, and the 3D was pretty sharp and clear. I was impressed with how it looked.
Yeah, it was awesome. It was, I mean, obviously it's a pretty bad, cheesy movie, but seeing it in a theater in 3D with other excited people to be back going to see films, it was great. It
was. And I've resolved never to see a 3D movie in 2D at home again.
Agreed.
Because I tried to watch all the Friday the 13th movies at one point, and I watched part 3, and there's like a yo-yo going at the camera at one point, and it's just like, it's clearly exploiting the 3D feature. So, I mean, Jaws 3D was not good, but it was super fun to watch. And the 3D sequences and some of the effects were totally entertaining. So if I'd seen that at home in 2D, I would have been a little underwhelmed.
Yeah, I would have too. And wow, I don't think this is the shining example in Richard Matheson's filmography either, because he wrote the film. He wrote Jaws 3D.
Yeah, that was an interesting credit that popped up there at the beginning. I was surprised. I'm a big fan of Richard Matheson, pretty much everything he does, short stories and, Psycho and everything.
Everything.
But this was Dennis Quaid. And I didn't realize going into this, I've never seen Jaws 2. I'd actually never seen Jaws until I was an adult. I didn't realize that the family from Jaws had essentially like a curse, like the Russells do, like the Russoffs.
Yeah.
Because this is apparently the oldest son of Roy Scheider's character, and he is now an engineer working for SeaWorld.
That's right.
Mike Brody.
SeaWorld, run by Louis Gossett Jr.
Yeah.
No less.
And I was trying to figure out, how long has SeaWorld been around? Why would you lend your name to this?
That's what I was thinking.
You want this terrible, horrible event to happen? Yeah, slap our names all over the thing. Weird.
Yeah, it was really weird. But
Leah Thompson?
Yeah, Leah Thompson in her first role.
Yeah.
No, it was great. I loved it.
Yeah, I couldn't get enough of severed body parts slowly rotating and coming towards the camera underwater. That was, I could watch that for hours. That's like the best screensaver ever.
Oh, me too. And I'm pretty sure at the end, they high-fived a dolphin.
That ending would have made most 80s Saturday morning cartoons and blush.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it was amazing.
Okay. So yeah, that was great going back to the theater. And, again, I think I posted something about it in my Instagram feed, but it wasn't Lawrence of Arabia or whatever. It wasn't some triumphant return to the medium of cinema, but it was a triumphant return to the experience of watching a movie in a theater and having a good time. I had a blast personally.
I did too. And I was also excited. They showed a couple previews before the film, and one of them was for Werewolves Within.
Yeah, with a great cast, by the way.
Really great cast. I'm really excited about it. I guess it's based on a video game.
Oh, really?
I thought so. I was trying to read a little bit about it. And yeah, it seems like it's based on some game I don't know about because I'm a monster and don't play video games.
You are a monster, but that's not the reason.
Okay.
Yeah, the cast is great. It's got the guy from True Detective season 1 that played the killer, that did all the creepy shifting accents and,
Yep.
And then it has George Basil, which I don't know if you've seen that series that starred Joe Bluth on Netflix called like Flaking or something like that. But he was in that. He was also in the HBO series Crashing. Have you ever seen that?
I haven't.
About the stand-up comedian? Okay. Well, it's got Michael Chernus, who's from Patriot, the Amazon Prime show that we're freaking out about right now, that we love so much. Just a ton of talented people.
Yeah, it looked really good.
And the guy that plays the familiar in What We Do in the Shadows. That's
right. Who plays Guillermo. I'm really excited.
And the Verizon girl?
Yeah.
But right. It looks like, is it, I was so excited I wasn't focusing on what they were previewing. I was just, giddy that there was a werewolf movie preview happening. Is it like a 10 Little Indians thing? Like, is it kind of like The Beast Must Die? Or did you get a sense of that at all?
I kind of got a little bit of that sense. I think I was reading something about it, and it was had shades of The Thing, had a little, maybe a little 10 Little Indians in there, but no, I'm
like the game Among Us. Have you heard about that one?
Yes,
the young people like so much.
The young people do like that.
Which who among us is the mole or whatever, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm totally down with that. I still haven't seen that one, the Werewolf of White Hollow or something like that. I forgot what it's called, but
oh yeah, we need to watch
Robert Forster in it.
Yeah,
watch that one too. But very stoked about this Werewolves Within. So that's coming out, I think, end of this month or early July. So I will be going to the theaters to see that if I can, even if I have to wear a mask and pull it up and down to drink beer. I'm willing to do that.
I was totally fine with that.
Yeah, I didn't mind either.
No.
One thing was like my 3D glasses kept fogging up, so I had to put them on into my nose like a librarian.
Yeah, I did too, but that worked fine. I had a little bit of a kink in my neck from going like this. So yeah, just like lifting my head up to watch it the whole time. But it was fine. I don't mind wearing a mask in a theater at all. Whatever.
Yeah, me neither. I have no problem with that. It was fun. Cool. Okay, so we are talking this week about Werewolf by Night, issue 31, which has a pull date of July 1975. Is this the first time you'd read this one?
Yes.
So we're all in like new territory for you, right?
Yeah.
For most of the rest of the run.
Did you know this was going to happen? Did you remember this issue?
Not what you're talking about.
Okay.
Not really. No.
All right.
I remember the setup. So on the cover here, we have a blood red background in the sky and a full moon rising over a snowy tree-covered cliff. And at the very edge of the cliff is a little girl, and she has kind of elf quest kind of little, she's very, very cute little girl, and she's crawling, edging away from the werewolf, but she's edging towards the edge of the cliff, to the precipice. And he's advancing towards her, crouching down, and has his claw extended like he's swiping towards her. And it says, a starving werebeast runs amok, stalking human prey. Death in white. The shattering shocker you dare not miss. This cover's by Gil Kane and inked by Frank Giacoia. And I'm not a huge fan of the cover. I like the use of red, that it was the reds and the yellow of the moon. But I don't know. It just doesn't blow me away. I feel like my eye doesn't naturally follow. I mean, Gil Kane's a master of layout and composition, so he knows what he's doing. But I feel like my eye just kind of doesn't really go in a perpetual natural circle like it does when there's perfect layout, where it tracks something in a visual trail, not like Family Circus trail, like not like dotted lines. Fuck that. But like, you know what I'm saying? Like it goes from to the little girl, then up to the werewolf, and then back to the little girl. And then it kind of goes up around counterclockwise and then just kind of does that again. It just feels like an unnatural path visually to me.
I think that's a fair criticism. I like this cover. I understand. Yeah, the layout might not be perfect, but I do really like the way the werewolf looks. I love the way the fur looks. I love that extended claw. Looks so monstrous and cool. And I loved the red and the yellow too. I liked this cover. I could definitely tell it was Frank Giacoia inking. Love his inks. So no, this one worked for me. So
is the little girl's doll-like face, is that Kane or is that Giacoia, do you think? Or is it both?
I think it's a little bit of both, but it's Kane. I think Kane probably definitely, laid out that face.
Okay. Well, I'm glad that we're like in new territory for you. I hope that there's perpetual surprises until the ending.
I hope so too. Yeah, on our opening page, I like the opening page much more than the cover. And I like the cover, but the opening page is so cool. Like, I don't know. I'm a sucker for snow in comics. I really am. And just to get this out of the way, I love the artistic choice in this whole issue to use to have the snowflakes be so big and paper-like and just like, I don't know. And I mean, I've seen snow done lots of different ways in comics, but I kind of like this weird chunkiness.
Yeah, it looks like big confetti.
Yeah, it does. And I don't know. I know it's not a realistic depiction of snow, but it's a stylized depiction that I really dig. I was trying to think of my favorite comics that took place in snow. I was thinking of Whiteout.
I was going to say Whiteout's like the first.
Whiteout's the number one by far. But yeah,
who's the artist on that? That's Greg Rucka and Steve Lieber.
It's Steve Lieber. Yeah.
Yeah. If you haven't read that graphic novel, it's top notch. And I hope you didn't see the film. The book is amazing.
Yeah, don't see the film. But yeah, it's Oni Press, maybe, I don't know, late 90s, early 2000s, I think.
Feels like it was 98 to 2002, that kind of era.
Yeah, pretty early Oni Press, but so highly recommended. So yeah, our creators for this issue are writer Doug Munch, artist co-plotter Don Perlin, letterer Dave Hunt, colorist Michelle W., that's Michelle Wolfman to you, and editor Len Wein. And this is the first credit that Don Perlin has got as co-plotter. And I looked ahead a few issues. He doesn't have a co-plotter credit on the Moon Knight stuff that's coming up. So it'll be interesting to see when that is used. I was trying to think back to where in Marvel history where that was used first. And I really think it was used first with Steve Ditko in Amazing Spider-Man. I at least in the Silver Age on, I think that's where that term kind of was used.
Trying to think
of the first times. Him and Kirby both used it in the 60s, but I almost feel like Ditko had that credit first. I could totally be wrong, and please correct me if I am.
No, I'm just wondering, like, when, because I've read several accounts of his relationship with Stan, like devolving and eventually leaving the book. I'm trying to think when did that? Do you recall vaguely like when that even the credit popped up? Is it like the late teens? I feel like in the 20s is when like you started getting a sense that there was kind of a, I don't know, friction or something kind of going on.
Yeah, I think it was about halfway through the run, if I'm correct. But yeah, by all accounts at that time, I think Ditko was doing the lion's share of the work, story and art-wise, which has been documented and talked about a lot.
Ad nauseum.
So, ad nauseum indeed. So
Stan came by and just wrote Wowzers and Excelsior on it and sent it to the press.
And cashed his check. That's right. So, but credits were so spotty before then in the Atlas era and stuff, half the stuff is signed and most of the time, strangely enough, in the Atlas era, not a lot of the stories had Stan Lee's name on it. A lot of times they'd have the artist, but not Stan Lee's name. So yeah, I think once he had FF1 under his belt, he became the ego-filled Stan Lee that propelled Marvel into its greatness, but also took a lot of credit for stuff.
Yeah. And he did contribute a lot of things and bring a lot of ideas.
Did. Yeah, we are not
bashers of Stan Lee.
No, we're definitely not bashers of Stan Lee. I think it's it would not exist without him. I think it's a very in vogue kind of modern in the 21st century. I think bashing Stan a bit, particularly in the last 10 years, has kind of become more acceptable or whatever, as the Kirby family or whoever, the estates of different artists are coming forward and saying whatever. But I don't think that needs, I don't know. No, well, shit, there was a book
been an open secret for decades.
Yeah, that new book came out I think 4 or 5 months ago that was pretty critical and had, every time a book comes out that's like that, it makes the news cycle and, people kind of like to pile on, but I don't. He's a complicated, kind of problematic guy, but obviously a huge architect of what we know as modern comics. So,
yeah. And it's funny that, in the Marvel films, he's still doing his Stan thing even after the illusion has dropped, the curtain. Like, my wife knows who he is, my daughter knows who he is, and they don't really know who he is.
Yeah, exactly.
But he's that guy that's in everything.
No, there is a use for a P.T. Barnum type of character.
Exactly.
They're very useful and get shit done.
Yep.
So anyhow, this opening page, the title is called Death in White, and it's the title is kind of built into the snow, which, we always love. And it has the werewolf bearing down on a little girl dressed in kind of a cool red snowsuit. And Yeah, I really like this one. I don't think that so we saw the cover where he is threatening her over a precipice. Let me just spoiler alert. That does not happen. So I'm taking a drink.
Oh, you're very literal.
Mm-hmm. It doesn't. It just doesn't happen.
I mean, a werewolf menaces a little girl.
Not above a cliff.
Okay.
I'm just saying.
Can I just say that I would nominate this issue for the Creeper Awards for the creepiest dialogue? Can you please read this first text box in here of narration?
Oh, I know. Some of these are so painful. This is one where, God. Okay. Opening narration. She couldn't have been more than 7, and I couldn't have been more pleased. Finding myself within reach of the easiest prey I'd ever stalked. Oh, my God.
Ugh.
Yeah, there's a couple of those in here that obviously they're not. Yeah, it's just poor word choice.
Yes, the werewolf is a literal predator.
Yeah.
When you...
No,
in the context of a male predator and a little girl, it takes on, Chris Hansen-y tones that we don't really want to ascribe to it.
No, definitely not. And the big difference between the little girl who we'll learn is named Buttons, she has red hair in this issue and has kind of like bluish black hair on the cover.
Yeah, like Veronica Lodge.
Yes.
So yeah, I kind of like the splash a little bit. It's an extension of what's on the cover. The werewolf is creeping through the piles of powder towards a little girl who's running away from him. She's got her mittens attached to her little sleeves. That's adorable. And her hat's fallen off. So she's in peril. And I do kind of like that death in white, like it was some kind of snow castle contest out there at the lodge, but some stoned college kids did that one. Yeah, it's all right. We kick back to the story actually begins at the Russell Manor, and Topaz and Jack are trying to get Lissa to come with them to go skiing with Buck. And she's like, you know what? I have way too much schoolwork to study for. I'm like, well, you're not going to get to meet Buck's date. I'm like, what? What's that? And she's like, oh, he's got a date coming along and he's bringing his daughter. And Lissa's like, no, you guys, seriously, I have to do this. I have to stay home and study. And so says she was determined, but so was I. After what had happened a month earlier, she needed a rest. And he's referring to her turning repeatedly into a were-demon from hell, where her soul was extracted from her body and then replaced by a fat Middle Eastern man's soul. Yeah. So, and I could not but wonder, does she remember any of that? Because we know she didn't remember the first time she turned. When she turned after Taboo gave his soul to her.
Yeah.
Was she conscious? Like, does she remember any of this?
Yeah, I wondered that too. I also wonder if they're just like, let's let her think it was just a dream.
Yeah.
So no, I'm curious if that's going to come up in the next 10 issues or so.
So Buck arrives and honks outdoors and says, last chance, kiddo. And she's like, nah, I got to pass, Jack. I'm going to stay here and hit the books. So they say, all right, tough titties to you. And they leave.
This is my least favorite page of the issue. The faces are so bizarre and bad almost. And Lissa has a new kind of, is her hair pulled? Yeah. Okay. Her hair is pulled back in a ponytail, but it, God. Yeah. Cause you'll see at the bottom.
I see that now.
I thought she had a bob as well.
Cause remember we were joking about, how weird she looked in Giant Size number 5.
Yeah.
She must've had her hair back there too. I thought she just had a terrible Patty Duke haircut.
Yeah, okay. Which it looks like here. But yeah, Lissa's face just looks weird and strained. Like this whole page. This page is really weird and unsettling to me.
Yep. I totally agree. And she looks like she's from an Archie comic. Like there's just something about these renderings of these people that just fell off to me.
Yeah. And I don't, I have a book on my head, I'm being silly thing too. It's just like none of these things are things that human beings do. So it was a little weird to me.
I don't know. I can almost see this in a Brady Bunch, like Jan having a book on her head and Greg's like, last chance.
Yeah, that's true.
We're going to go smoke / play in the electric banana / get lost in the Grand Canyon.
Yeah, you're right. Maybe only Jan Brady would put a book on her head.
Oh, Eve Plum.
Yeah. But the next page, everything basically gets started. So Jack and Topaz get into Buck's car, and we see that Buck brought a date. The narration reads, Buck had told us little about his date, only that she was far too young to be a widow. and that the ski trip would take her mind off her husband's death, a tragedy already a year past, and the medicine of smiles went to work as we finally crossed names in the car. Again, a very kind of clunky way of saying all that, but it does set the stage. And
that's a 700 Club's feature, isn't it? A regular one, Medicine of Smiles.
Medicine of Smiles. Oh boy.
Jesus.
Yeah. So Buck says, Jack and Topaz, I'd like you to meet Elaine Marston. And the little one is her daughter Buttons, who's the cute little girl from the cover and the opening page. She says, hiya. And then, yeah, Jack makes the connection with the name. He says, as in cute as, eh? And then the next panel, Button says, Topaz is a funny name, but I think it's neat. Are you two married? And, Jack gets really uncomfortable. And Topaz is like, married? Why, no, Buttons, we're not married. And then she says, goody, because I want to marry him. He's real pretty. And yeah, Jack's face is super goofy. And then, Buck the comedian is like, how come I never noticed, Jackie? Jack says, easy, big boy, you'll rub off my beauty mark. Boy. This is some. Well, maybe they're being extra corny because there's a child present. Let's give them that.
Okay, fair enough.
And it says, so the smiles turned into laughter as Buck's car turned north. 4 hours later, the highway turned into a mountain road. The road turned into snow, and the snow turned into instant ski time. Everything's clunky and weird.
That just, I don't know. In the context of a horror book, that reminds me of, did you ever see that ad for The Shining when it's recut as a dramatic comedy, like Shining, with like Salisbury, that Peter Gabriel song?
Salisbury Hill.
Yeah, Salisbury Hill with the music soundtrack, and it's all like this heartwarming comedy.
Yeah, no, yeah, and they get to the lodge, and I mean, it kind of reminds me a little bit of, a Timberline Lodge type of place. And I just liked the setting of this entire thing. As you grew up in the woods in Oregon, near forests and near snow. So, and me too. I grew up on Mount Hood as a little kid, and so it's just that forest setting with lots of snow, ski lodges. It's takes me to my comfortable place.
Yeah, I grew up in ski lodges for sure. When I was a kid, I could go skiing all the time. Then I became an adult, and I couldn't afford ever to do that ever.
Yes.
So the weird extra special Brady Bunch episode where they're on vacation thing continues with Jack and Topaz trying to ski. And this would be a meet cute if they didn't know each other. But Jack says, Topaz, I think I better tell you something, as he's wobbling on his skis. She says, what is it, Jack? And then he starts flailing around on his skis, flinging his ski poles around. I've never been on skis, woof, before. And they both collapse in the snow. And he's kind of on top of her in a kind of missionary position way in the way they just landed. She's like, know what? Neither have I. He's like, well then, fancy meeting you here. And it's a cute little kind of romantic moment. And like, I'm trying to think, like, when was the last time they had any physical time alone? Like Transylvania?
Transylvania was the last time.
Like a bazillion years ago.
And yeah, this whole setup reminds me of something that would be in like a Patsy Walker comic or a Hetty Devine comic from the 50s.
Yeah. And so she kind of closes her eyes, like taken away with the romance or whatever is going on. He says, Topaz, we've never had time to relax like this before, to just slow down. And she quietly says, I know, Jack. Her hair glistened. Her hair glistened. Her hair glistened with snow crystals. I leaned closer to, and then he gets beamed in the head by a snowball. And Button says, gotcha. If you two want to get mushy, there's plenty of snowballs for that, the little imp. And so Jack plays along. He's like, I'm the abominable snowman. I'm going to get you. And then he gets beamed from the other side and Topaz is in. So now it's all out snowball war. Yeah, this issue is so funny. Like it's so front loaded with cutesy wootsy like schmaltz. And then the darkness comes. Yeah, it's very Paul McCartney. It's like a bazillion Paul McCartney Christmas album songs all in one. And then it becomes Helter Skelter in the second half. And so, yeah, the next page, Buck makes a already tired joke, even though they've only done it once, still tired, about Jack's beauty mark. What's the matter, Jackie? Trying to wash off your beauty mark? And he's like, all right, ladies, you asked for it. And he tackles both Topaz and Buttons, and they all fall in the snow. Buttons says, I've got an idea, Topaz. Let's both marry him.
And the bottom narration says, you'd have thought there was no such thing as a werewolf, the way an afternoon of giggles and cold snow. Then we get the next panel, melted into an evening of hot grog, roaring fire, and held hands. And that says, then the manager butted in. The manager comes and he's like, oh, may I have your attention, please? Our weather report forecasts a heavy blizzard for late tomorrow afternoon. There's nothing to worry about, but I would advise all skiers not to venture out into the farthest slopes tomorrow. Now, in that fourth panel, did you notice the illustration of Jack and Topaz? Is that a swipe? Is that Perlin swiping himself? Because I know I've seen that. I tried to go back because I've seen that exact picture.
What would that have been? No,
I went back and tried to look. I need to just go through, but I'm like, I know I've seen that. That is a swipe.
Are you sure it's not him swiping Plug from when they were on the train to Transylvania or something?
That's what I looked there and I didn't see it, but maybe I didn't look hard enough. But yeah, I mean, doesn't it look familiar to you?
It does. No, it does.
Okay. Yeah, there's a no prize available to whoever can figure out what issue that was swiped from, because I know
contrive some ensorcelment t-shirt to the person who can ID where this is swiped from. I also was tired of the beauty mark joke by the second application.
Even though it's the second one. But yeah, I was like, oh, fuck.
But you choose me.
Yeah, God, it was bad. Yeah, the dialogue in this is particularly atrocious. Yeah, so then Buck takes Jack aside and says, hey, maybe we should scrap the whole idea, Jack. Head back for the city in the morning. Because obviously they're planning that, the werewolf will go and hide out in the woods. Even though it doesn't make any sense, like Jack's just going to disappear and no one's going to worry about him when he's hiding in the woods, even without a blizzard. But he's like, relax, Buck, a little blizzard won't hurt the werewolf. Besides, this makes the plan even better. It doesn't. I'll never run into anyone in the woods now. Buck's
hubris.
Like, yeah, oh my God.
Hubris of the mortals.
Buck says, well, if that's the way you want it. Jack's like, that's the way it is. Even though he's smiling, he's saying really jerkish stuff. It's like, come on, the girls are waiting. So another terrible plan. I
thought that they had like a weird like chemistry, like he's completing his sentence. Like, if that's the way you want it, that's the way it is. Like a little like, like high five.
Maybe it is more of a high five.
Elbow bump, weird half hug, back slap thing.
See, you're a half full type of guy.
So I loved that this was in a ski lodge.
Yep.
Because like I said, I skied a lot when I was a kid. So these are always warm, fuzzy memories to me, like the big roaring fire, and you can play elevator action. Your mom just gave you a ton of quarters. You get the hot chocolate. You're just hanging out in there. It smells like, that wet wool drying under the heat of the thing, and the grown-ups are drinking wine. Good times, man. Good times. Wish I had money to do stuff like that now. I did like that Buck had like the pretense of refilling their grog as an excuse to be like, hey man, there's a blizzard coming. Should we just get you out of here?
Yeah, he's like, time for us to get some refills, Jack.
Powder our noses. While I'm turning pages here, there's some ads. And there's one for Slim Jims. And I'm only going to read the headline because it applies. What to sink your teeth into when you're hungry and you're not a werewolf. That's all.
Damn, those are targeted ads right there.
Super targeted. So on the next page, we cut back to LA to the homicide office of Lieutenant Victor Northrup. If you recall, Vic was the friend of Lou Hackett, and he is not happy that Hackett has disappeared. He thinks that Jack is all messed up in this stuff, and he knows there's werewolves. So we're going back to him. And it feels like forever since we checked in with him, but that's because there was those two giant size issues. It wouldn't have been that long ago. So his buddy's in there, and Eddie, and he's like, so the police force will have to do without you for a while, eh, Vic? And Vic's sitting in his chair with his foot propped up, loading his gun. That's right, Eddie. Got some vacation time due me. For instance, 3 weeks. And then Eddie says, so what's with the silver bullets? You know me, Eddie. I always travel first class. Besides, lead bullets just don't cut it when you're going down to Haiti on my kind of business. And then he kind of does the thing where you flick a revolver and close the chamber and check.
So cool.
And then we cut, like that last issue when we're just jumping around, we cut from the LAPD to Haiti. And he continues, for instance, to look up a turkey named Raymond Coker, the Russell Punk's old friend, prime suspect in the murder of my buddy, Lou Hackett, and probable werewolf. So let's unpack Vic's thing there. First of all, he must be a shitty detective if he thinks that Jack Russell and Raymond Coker are old buddies.
Yeah,
because they can barely be in the same room without catfighting like Tasmanian devils. What kind of police work has he done since issue 22 that has led him to think Raymond Coker is probably behind Lou Hackett's disappearance/death?
I just can't see what actual physical evidence would have been left behind to...
Well, he's black.
Well, yeah, that's basically what he's going for.
I'm an LA cop, and he's associated
19...
with the case, and he's black, so he's my number one suspect.
Yep, I think that's what's going on here.
Yeah. Well, we've almost gotten better. So we cut to Haiti, and there's that little shack that we were at before, and it continues from where last time we saw them. Your name is Coker. And Raymond says, yes, but how did you? And Gisawa of the 1,000 Years says, and you have come to Gisawa of the 1,000 Years because you have heard of my powers. And then she starts flapping her arms around. You have heard that Gisawa knows all the dark secrets found in voodoo. You have come to me for help. And she's jumping up again. She's very spry for a little hunchbacked, weird, wizened thing. You have come to me because your soul has been taken from you. And then she points with a monkey fist, which she has been brandishing this whole time, like people have pointers or laser pointers. And she's pointing at a mask on the wall that says, taken by the curse of the beast man. And this is a cliche voodoo mask, but half of it is like an African-American visage. And the right-hand side is very clearly a beast wolf face. So what did you make of this? Because do you think she's saying that your soul has been taken, like your curse has been lifted, which was actually a gift? Which, by the way, I always thought was a gift for him. I mean, the dude had his intellect. He had complete control over himself when he was a werewolf. Like, that's like a wet dream for me.
Yeah, I never understood why he was so... He didn't kill anyone. He didn't have any... I mean, at least we don't really know his true backstory, I guess. But
he killed Baldy, and
that's true. But
that's non-canonical.
Non-canonical Monsters Unleashed stuff. So, yeah, I'd never understood why he had a problem with that. So I didn't know what to think of this. I was like, all right, well, this will be unpacked for us in a later issue because this didn't make any sense to me.
Yeah, it feels like it's either he feels less than because he's lost his lycanthropic side, or in destroying and taking another person's life to lift the curse, he somehow like lost some kind of virtue or, his soul. So he's trying to make himself whole again.
That seems the closest to a semi-rational explanation that I could come up with. So
kind of where I am.
Yeah, we'll see where that goes. So the next page, it's the next day, and Buck and Jack have their cover story ready for Elaine and Buttons, which is that Jack has to go to work early at a job, which is just like, that is not believable, my friend.
He's taking a shift at Central Perk.
Yeah.
Like at this point, he is a stuntman, and he was almost successfully in one film that turned out to be a trap for a cult.
Yeah. So
but I guess if Elaine doesn't know you, she doesn't know that you don't work.
Yeah, that's true. But he's such a privileged rich kid. I'm sure even she raised an eyebrow and was just like, oh, yeah, you work, right? So they drive off towards the train station, and Buck takes a turn into the deep woods, which I loved. I loved that. I always love calling any woods the deep woods. Very Twin Peaks. I love it. And it's a terrible plan. Like this, just the more I thought about it and the more I read this page, that this is a terrible plan.
Yeah.
Because so Buck just leaves him there as the blizzard is about to hit. And I know that a werewolf has fur and all, but werewolves can freeze to death too. Like if it's 20 below in a fucking blizzard, like that's, I don't know. It just doesn't make any sense to me.
Yeah. You kind of need pack brothers to cuddle with.
Yeah. Or,
that's how canines get through cold weather.
Yeah. This just seems like one of the dumbest plans that he's come up with. At the bottom narration says, for once, meteorology had correctly psyched out the caprice of old Mother Nature. Again, I don't think any humans ever said that.
That's Doug. I don't know what the co-plotting is, but that is Doug.
That is Doug for sure. Says the blizzard would be nothing if not heavy duty. I hoped Buck could find his way back to the ski lodge, knowing full well the moon would find its way to me. So he's just crouched down next to a tree, just kind of waiting for the moon.
So in the fifth panel there, when he's kind of assuring Buck everything's fine, he says, "Don't worry so much, Buck. The full moon probably won't even penetrate the blizzard." Is he lying to make Buck feel better? Because is he not aware of how curses work? There's no science here.
Well, if you don't see it, it's not real.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I know.
Yeah, it is a hell of a plan. Like literally just drop your friend off in the middle of the woods in the freezing weather with an oncoming blizzard and just see you tomorrow.
Yeah.
Same time, same place.
And again, like you were talking about last episode, he doesn't have a transponder. There's no tracking device, so the werewolf's just going to wander around the fucking blizzard, freezing to death. And Buck's just going to have to roam the forest and find him in the morning.
Yeah. So it's more likely to be like the Revenant than anything else.
Yes.
Yeah. So it's a hell of a plan. So Buck's driving back to the lodge and then he sees some swirling police lights and he's like, oh no, what's going on? He pulls up and Elaine's out there and she's like, "Oh, Buck, thank God you're back. You've been gone so long. I've been frantic. I didn't know what to do." And then these like fucking postage stamp sized, at least, snowflakes are just falling crazy. It's like a crazy quilt of snowflakes. But they're looking at each other and she says, "It's Buttons. She's gone, Buck. She wandered off into the woods, into the blizzard, Buck. She's lost." And Buck thinks, good Lord, into the woods and with Jack out there. And then the local state troopers like, we got a search party going out, blah, 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 and you can come along, mister, especially if you're the kid's father. And meanwhile, Buck is eyeing a snowmobile behind the trooper.
This made me so happy. No, this page has some cool panels. I kind of like that third one with the kind of weird red lights of the cop cars. And then that bottom one with Elaine and Buck, I thought was really well done. But yeah, there's just this idling snowmobile. And the next page, the first panel, Buck makes a very Buck type of move and just says, "Thanks, but I'll get a little head start on this snowmobile." And he just jumps on and takes off. Oh, man. Yeah, it really, really made me laugh. But see, this is where I get a little nostalgic because we did have like crappy little snowmobiles living on Mount Hood in the 80s. Like little that we would
Sleepy
take.
Hollow?
Yeah, near Sleepy Hollow. We would go up there and we would go to Frog Lake on Mount Hood.
Oh, I like Frog Lake.
And that's where we would take the snowmobiles out. And it was so much fun. Even though, people, is it cool? It's not cool to like snowmobiles anymore, though.
Oh, my wife's brother really likes them. But he lives in Joseph, Oregon. He's a dyed-in-the-wool redneck.
I know. See, they're so associated with rednecks now. And just even the few times that I've like waxed nostalgic about snowmobiles in company, people are always like, "Oh, really?"
Yeah.
It's like, it was a simpler time.
It's a little butch for us.
It is very butch for me. So I totally get their weird looks.
So before you press on, I'm sorry, I should have said this on the last page. I just had a note that just said the art is atrocious. I thought that art on the last page was awful. I think it's pretty awful throughout most of this issue.
Yeah.
I made a note that when Buck's pulling in, he realizes the state troopers are there and he sees Elaine. I just made a note that said trooper cars look like Pictionary drawings. Just like you're just conveying the idea of something enough for someone to get it. Like this is really crude, simplistic, like that. Next to the last panel of him, he looks like John Lurie in Down by Law or something, which is cool. I love John Lurie, but like this is not Buck. He's not consistent from one panel to the next. I thought the art was a fucking nightmare in this issue.
It is. It definitely is. No, this is not. Yeah, this is not a great art issue by any means.
Sorry for that interjection there. I just want to get that off my chest.
No problem. So yeah, Buck steals the cop's snowmobile and heads off into the blizzard. And then we switch to a shivering Jack because he's taking his shirt and coat off and stashing it in a log. So he must know that the moon is coming because, I would assume he's not doing this like an hour before the moon comes up because he will fucking freeze to death.
This is a plan. Like this is actually smart thinking. He said,
"Yeah,
the werewolf will survive a night in the snow. Mm-hmm. When I turn back, I will not. So I'm going to take my clothes off now and have clothes to wear." That's a lot for him.
It's a lot. I mean, it's still overall a stupid plan.
Oh, it's stupid.
Yeah, but he says, so it was 60 degrees below miserable. I hid my shirt and coat under a log, knowing I'd need them if the werewolf survived the night. says, through the swirling blizzard, the moon was invisible, but it was still there. And even if I couldn't see it, I could certainly feel it. Then he begins to transform. What did you think of that halfway transformation panel there?
Where he's saying R?
Yes, the R.
It's okay.
It's all right, right?
It's fine.
It's serviceable. It's fine.
I love the musculature of him, and the inking of his torso is great. The face is a little less impressive. It's just kind of, I don't know, napkin, Perlin drawing on a napkin.
A little bit.
But the body's great.
And so, yeah, he's kind of arched over this log and then falls forward. It says, bristling fur sprouted into fluffy snow. And when I lifted my head, it was the first night, and I growled.
Let's talk.
Okay.
About this last panel.
Yes.
Was this a contest winner? Was there a contest like you can draw one panel in Werewolf by Night? Because this is awful.
It looks like a werewolf mask was melted in the sun to me. It is truly terrible.
Or did Perlin develop imminent death syndrome? And nobody could tell him.
I was like, no, you're doing great, man. You're totally doing fine.
No, we'll put this in the issue. Yeah, no, for sure. Totally. If you're around.
This is weird, though. I mean, Perlin is pretty consistent. I mean, we've had complaints like this before, especially of Buck looking a bit different every issue. But this is weird.
Yeah. Like this almost borders on cubist. Like the way he's like, you should see a second eye. It looks like a thumbprint of a, I don't know how to describe it.
That's so weird.
Up. And he's already got snow melting in his hair.
Yeah, it's unfortunate.
It looks wrong.
I'm anxious to put that one up on the Instagram feed and get people's reactions to it.
Yes, I would love to hear people's thoughts because I saw that and dropped it and was like, oh! Like,
yeah, I know.
Look.
No, yeah, it's like someone punching you in the stomach.
Yeah, it was not a good time. So the next page, we have the Beast stalking around, and he is moving like, when Scooby and Shaggy are running from a monster and they're like completely parallel to the ground. He's moving like that, which is kind of weird looking, but kind of cool in a feral lupine way.
Kind of.
And I like the, I'm always a fan of when Munch takes us into the Beast's experiential kind of world. So it says, the werewolf was confused. He'd never even seen snow before, much less felt its crisp bite under his padding feet. But that didn't stop him from loping off in search of prey. So that was kind of cool, I guess.
Yeah.
Then we cut back to Buck cruising around on the snowmobile. He picks up Jack's tracks. Even though the blizzard's coming in and the snow's falling heavily, there's just enough track to follow, and he sees, oh my God, he's actually headed towards the lodge, which is where Buttons is. And then we cut to Buttons wandering around, proving Darwin's theory. She's like, I'm sorry, Mommy, I didn't mean to do it. I just wanted to play in the snow. I'm just saying, this is like Darwin, right? I mean, like,
you're not wrong. No.
If she were a good mom and this was a smart kid,
yeah,
this wouldn't be happening. So we need to thin the herd. Then we cut to the Beast looking at her from a distance as he's kind of cresting over a little hill and down on all fours and growling. And she says, I didn't mean to get lost. And he's moving towards her. He says, I crouched on a drift of packed snow, snarling softly. Jack Russell's shivers were long gone, and the werewolf's blood flashed hot at the sight of his meal. So I like the savagery in there, that this is kind of higher stakes. One of the few things I can say about this issue that I really liked was that the untethered savagery of the Beast comes out in this a lot.
Well, I mean, he's the villain. He's the villain of his own book in this. Mm-hmm. Like there's no cartoonish super bad guy that he's fighting against. We have asked for this. We've asked for him to be scary. Mm-hmm. We've asked for him to be vicious.
Yes.
And we got it. We got it in spades this issue. So next page. Buttons sees someone approaching. She's like, Mommy, is that you? She's like, no, it's a man. And she's like, Mister, help me. Mister, help. I'm lost. And then she sees him as like, oh no, it's a monster man. And then she runs away. She's like, help me. The monster man's going to kill me. And then I think this is probably the coolest part of the issue. Is Buck comes, tear-assing in on his snowmobile. He's like, Jack, for God's sakes, Jack, stop it. And so, and he sees, and the Beast actually has grabbed Buttons and is lifting her up. And Buck says, he's got her, can't use the sled now. And he does this kick-ass leap off the snowmobile, slamming into the werewolf, knocking him away from Buttons. And yeah, that bottom box reads, one thing, as the werewolf, I didn't recognize him as my best friend. I saw him only as something else to slay.
Yeah, I like that too. Good Buck moves. All I have as a note is pretty epic tackle.
It is. It's funny. I really think that it shows the weakness of this issue is just how little we have to talk about on each page, because we're all just like, yep, that happened. Mm-hmm. Though, I mean, will you admit that this is an improvement over last week's Giant Size 5?
Not yet.
Okay. All right. Well, let's keep going. Let's go to the next page.
We'll go through it. So meanwhile, the Stadies are tromping through the woods trying to find the girl. To prove that they're really, just down to earth, nuts and bolts guys, they call the snowmobile a mobile. So these are just working class guys.
No one's ever called a snowmobile a mobile.
And no. And so they're walking through just talking about how, that guy is not her dad. Actually, that lady's husband died. And then he's like, oh my God, if her husband died and then her daughter dies, she's going to go cuckoo. Weird little aside there. Okay. I guess just kind of explaining explicitly the stakes for Elaine.
Yeah.
So meanwhile, I cut back to Jack, or the Beast, and Buck's on top of the Beast, getting ready to throw a punch while the Beast growls, and Buttons is standing by and says, Uncle Buck, don't, Uncle Buck, the monster man will kill you. And Buck's saying, run, Buttons, run as far and as fast as you can, you fucking idiot. I always think that when I see these things where it's like, I literally sacrificed my life to save you, and you're standing here talking to me. Like,
yeah, if
I die and you die because you didn't fucking take advantage of this, I'm going to haunt you.
Yeah.
And I'm going to kill you as a ghost. So yeah, he's saying, hurry before, and then the Beast slashes at him and he goes, ah, and it says, I slashed and felt my claws go wet, which was a nice little morbid touch.
Yeah.
And Button says, no, leave him alone. He never hurt you. And Buck's flailing around. He's got kind of Kirby-ish in a weird, like his hands are all, I don't know, with his gloves are all Kirby looking, but he sees a branch. He's like, that branch, if I can just, and he starts reaching towards it.
Yeah. Again, the art on this page is just kind of weird. I almost liked that top panel with the cops and their flashlights.
Yeah.
The chunky snow.
The light playing in the chunky snow. It's all right.
Yeah. No.
Yeah. I don't know, man.
I know. So yeah, Buck's reaching towards this branch. It seems like it's like a small tree or like some kind of branch out there, and he's trying to snap it off to use it as a weapon. But yeah, the Beast gets the drop on him and slashes at his back. It says, I came with the raging force of a savage beast. Yeah, he just slashes Buck. Then Buck kind of picks up the branch. It's like, stay back, I'm warning you. I'll use this thing like a baseball bat if you don't. And then the werewolf just totally slashes at his face. And it says, but the werewolf didn't know what a baseball bat was. And
Truth.
Buck, yeah, it is. And Buck, well, he hesitated just a little too long. It cost him the side of his face.
Yeah.
Like, oh my God. Yeah, this whole, from this part on, I was pretty shocked.
Yeah.
It was like my stomach dropped a bit. I was not expecting this.
Yeah, I had forgotten a lot of the second half of this issue for some reason. I guess I blocked it out for trauma purposes. I don't know.
Absolutely.
And to note, through this entire page, I don't know why this seems so weird to me, but the snow has been accumulating on the top of the werewolf's head. So he has like white hair. Like he just looks so weird to me with like frozen. Is it in yours?
Oh yeah, no, it's really weird. It's like he's wearing some kind of Snow White toupee.
Yeah, it's like Leslie Nielsen's playing him this issue.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it says it cost him the side of his face as well as all of his mind. And Button says, you heard him. You heard Uncle Buck. And then he hears that voice. He's like, that reminded me. There's something to kill. It was the little one I wanted. And so he turns towards her and she starts crawling away saying, and now you want to hurt me. Why? Why do you want to hurt us? And Buck gets up weakly. He's staggering and he's got that tree and he says, stop it. Won't let you do it, Jack. Can't let you. And then Button says, let go of me. And there's this cool little panel here that's like silhouettes and tons of prose, but it's got giant snowflakes in relation to the silhouettes, like the size of like catcher's mitts.
Yeah.
Since we're talking about baseball. It's got the Beast in silhouette reaching towards Buttons as she runs away, and Buck hitting on the back of the head with the tree. And it says, most people never even dreamed of the courage Buck grabbed and used that night. He'd been knocked for 3 bloody loops. And Buck says, warned you, Jack. Told you I'd stop you. I'd use the club. And then it goes back to Jack saying, and he'd come back each time, knowing he'd only get mauled again. But he was fighting for more than the life of a defenseless child. He was fighting for Jack Russell's sanity, something I'd lose forever if I woke up to find myself spattered with the blood of a 7-year-old named Buttons. But despite the guts it took, Buck's club fell with the force of a wet snowflake. So he's weak. He's about to pass out from blood loss and whatever, shock. Not much of an attack on the werewolf. And it just annoys Jack. It says, it annoyed me, so I broke it. And he turns around, swipes at the tree branch, and breaks it in half with his claws. And Buck's standing there just shaking, like vibrating with weakness. And his text is all small to indicate he's losing consciousness. And he says, I won't give up, Jack. Won't quit till I stop you. But he was already shaking, ready to fall. And the Beast is just crouched in front of him, growling, looking at him. Pretty heartbreaking there.
Yeah, it really starts to get heartbreaking from here on out. But I thought that was a good point you made about that panel in silhouette is really like one of the more cool panels of the issue. But Munch threw every possible word he could into this small square panel.
He packed everything that was not negative space with text.
Yeah,
essentially.
I mean, it's 3/4 text and the crowding a really cool silhouette, stylized illustration.
But I think that in this case, we give Munch shit about this stuff. But I mean, in this case, I think conveying that Buck knew, if nothing else, that Jack would kill himself.
Yeah,
if he woke up in the morning and he'd kill Buttons. So that's fact. He might be spoiled, but he's not inhuman.
No, he's not inhuman. And so on the next page, Buck is basically just kneeling on the ground now saying, don't do it, Jack. But then the Beast just slashes him again. And it reads, I spat a growl, thrashed and ripped, taking great pleasure in doing it. Buck's words meant nothing to me, and his slow crawl through agony and valor meant even less to the werewolf. So Buck is kind of slowly crawling towards Buttons, being like, you don't know what you're doing, son. But before I let you kill a little girl, you'll have to kill me. Buttons says, no, Uncle Buck, the monster man will get us both. And so Buck then crawls on top of Buttons to protect her and passes out. He's like, hush, child, just lie still. And then, he just passes out. And it says the Beast kind of lurks towards them. And it says, I padded forward to learn the answers, but then stopped. My prey was still and silent. Was it over? And we have learned before that, God, if you run into the werewolf, you basically just have to play dead, right? Because every time that happens, he's like, oh, I'm bored now. He just runs away. So that's the lesson, kids. If you run into a werewolf in the forest, just play dead.
So this middle sequence of panels is something we've talked about before that I really love, and I keep meaning to look up if it has a name. But in effect, it is one panel that is showing a landscape, and in the right-hand foreground is Buttons down in the snow, and we see the panel divided up with gutters into 3 panels, and it's being used to indicate that time is moving, even though the space has not. So in each of those panels, Buck is crawling closer and closer towards Buttons. That's such a cool, that's like, the only medium you can do something like this in.
Oh yeah, it's so cool. So Buttons is static. The Beast and the snow and the landscape, everything is static except Buck is moving forward in each of those 3 panels. It's very cool and is such a uniquely comics thing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and like you're saying, the Beast is even static, which doesn't make any sense, but he's just there panting and watching his prey. It's like a cat with a mouse that's almost dead. Like he doesn't need to do anything. He's just watching to see what it does. Powerful stuff. And in that second panel, I don't know if that's just the way it was drawn and inked by Perlin, but it almost looks like his eyes are swollen shut or something, like, or blinded with blood, or I don't know what. Like, I think this probably in an older magazine or something probably would have had a lot more blood in it. Because we've seen his clothes are tattered. The Beast has slashed at him 3 times with razor sharp claws. This is way blood. They refer to the blood. Even that bottom left panel, it says the blood was there splashing the snow. Yeah. Like, if this were not Comics Code approved, this would be a lot redder issue.
Yeah, I mean, it basically said that the werewolf slashed half his face off.
Yeah.
So, I mean, this is intense shit.
Yeah. So on the next page, the state troopers are approaching and they're like saying, hey, the snow's letting up, but there's been 8 inches dumped during this blizzard. And if we don't find that kid soon, and another trooper says, yeah, we'll just be out here for days looking for something to cry over. Those sensitive state troopers.
Fucking asshole.
Trying to just find a body. And then the werewolf says, I slashed once more just to be sure. So Buck is completely unconscious, shielding Buttons, and the werewolf slashes at his back again. And to teach my foe a lesson before loping off feeling big, satisfied. So the werewolf runs off.
Jeez.
Buck is completely unconscious. And Buttons is saying, Uncle Buck, you're so heavy. You got to move so I can get up. She's struggling to get out from under him. Uncle Buck? And then she gets out and she's trying to wake him up, saying, the monster man's gone away. Can't you hear me? Wake up, Uncle Buck. So that's very sad.
Yeah, this is just getting more and more devastating. And so the next page starts out with 3. I kind of like these first 3 long rectangular panels where it's the first one is Buttons saying, Uncle Buck, you're dead. And then a front shot of Buttons, then an overhead of her crying in the snow. Like I really liked those first 3 panels.
Yeah, like a crane shot pulling out.
Yeah, it's very cool.
Yeah.
And then so her crying leads the rescuers to her. One of them says, wait a minute, did you hear that? Like a kid crying. The other one says, yeah, but it was just the wind, Sam. No sense in getting our hopes up. And then like, over here, it was the kid. I found her. Looks like the guy's with her too. And then I'm assuming it's the asshole guy saying, yeah, that's got to be him. All right. Wonder what he did with the snow sled. Fucking jerk. The other guy's like, never mind that. Can't you see the poor guy's back? So they can tell that Buck has been totally fucking mauled because one of the guys says, man, he's torn up bad. Must have been a bear or wolves. Is he alive? Then they're like, I don't know. I don't think he is. And Buttons is yelling, it was the monster man. The monster man did it. The monster man killed Uncle Buck. And God, yeah, it's brutal. I kind of couldn't believe it at this point. I'm just like, oh my God, is Buck dead? Did Jack just kill Buck?
Yeah, I mean, there's no way to write yourself out of this corner. So
no.
He's definitely severely injured, if nothing else. So on the final page, we see the werewolf lurching through the snow. And it says, try as he might, the werewolf found nothing else to slay. Nothing but snow as far as he roamed. As many snarled challenges as he hurled. He grew tired, bored with the peaceful whisper of shifting snow. Besides, he'd prowled with the white forest all night, and dawn was waiting. So he hid, and he climbs under a log and just kind of curls up in a ball. It says dawn was waiting, so he hid, hoping it wouldn't find him, wouldn't steal his fangs and his claws, which is cool. I think I've ever seen the beast try and hide from the dawn before.
No.
Which is a cool little primitive note. So the snow continues falling. It says, but by the dawn, he'd fallen asleep. And we see that same place where he'd crawled under a rotten log, and it's completely covered up with snow. So it's been a long few hours of just dumping. And it was impossible to tell if his ploy had worked. And then we see, it says, until I punched my way through the crust of a frigid grave. And Jack's hand breaks through like the crusty snow that's around him. And he claws his way out. He says, oh, my head, pain, but it's over. Thank God it worked. He's like, ugh, freezing. Got to try to find my clothes. Wait for Buck to pick me up. He'll be waiting for me by now. And then it says the bottom, I was wrong. Dead wrong. So poor Jack wakes up with no recollection for some reason of the night before. He often has fleeting memories and, Polaroid kind of memories. But at this point, he has no recollection of what he did.
No.
And the bottom says, next issue. Just as Jack plunges into the horror of killing his best friend, the second night strikes. And with it comes the stalker called Moon Knight.
Oof, rough issue. Rough,
Yep.
Rough thematically, rough art, rough writing. Yeah, this was dark. This was a dark issue. I did not expect this.
If it didn't have the darkness there at the end and all the stuff that comes with Buck, I would have said this is the worst issue easily that we've read.
Yeah.
I was wondering, that co-plotting credit that Perlin got, like did Munch just write this on a cocktail napkin and just say, figure it out? Like it felt very sketchy and just very half-baked and very, all that weird kind of sitcom-y cutesy stuff in the beginning. And I don't know, it just felt like it was all over the place. And if this didn't bleed right into the next, no pun intended, into the next issue, like I would call this and the Buck stuff. I mean, it would have been like a bottle issue, right? Like just like we're off skiing and the werewolf almost menaced a little girl, but he didn't. And then we went home and nothing matters. You can skip this one if you're busy.
He fought a Yeti for some reason. And then, No, and it's weird that the issue was taken so lightly with how, I mean, so much has been leading up to this. Like we've almost been like, oh shit, he just hurt Buck. Like many issues being like, oh my God, would he actually hurt Buck, his best friend who always protects him? And then it actually horrifically happens in this issue, but it's just handled so poorly art and writing wise that it kind of underscores the darkness and the gravity of the situation.
Yeah. I mean, this was just a collection of like the things that don't work for me of when Perlin does them.
Yeah, it could have been done a lot better. Having the werewolf actually be the villain of the issue, no cartoonish bad guy. The werewolf is the villain, is the bad guy for sure, 100%. He's terrorizing a child, nearly kills his best friend. Yeah, if this was handled better, if it was handled by, a
Filipino.
Yes, Filipino artist.
Grandinetti or like Toth. Like imagine them handling the emotional weight of this issue with their art, their brilliance.
Yeah, for sure. It could have been handled so much better. And yeah, it's weird that there's a co-plotter credit on this one. It's just really weird. I want to know more about it, but then I also don't want to know anything more about it. So
because this is one where I can almost see Munch coming up with the idea and beats and doing that with Perlin, and then Perlin like I'm looking at what's page 17, which is where Buttons first realizes the guy in the distance is not a guy, it's a monster man. If you take away all these word balloons, I can almost see Perlin just saying, these are the beats filling in between what Munch told me. Like, like just, when Buck approaches him on the snowmobile, you don't need to have all that thinking. Like it's just him approaching, getting closer. The werewolf picks up Buttons in the air, and then he dives and tackles. Like, it's almost like him just applying his stuff to all of the art. Yeah. So I wonder if that's some kind of a hybrid version of that.
Hold on one sec, Matt. What the fuck is that?
What the fuck is that?
Is that a coyote pack?
I don't know.
We just heard that sounds like a coyote pack.
I hear it every night out here. So
I thought it was people.
That was weird.
I saw a coyote today when I was walking Cali during my lunch hour. I never see them in the daytime.
Oh God, that was terrifying.
Werewolf!
It was. I was like, holy shit. That was really scary. Sorry about that.
It is wolf adjacent, so I will allow it.
I appreciate it.
Highly irregular though, Counselor.
No, you're right. Yeah, not a great issue. I'm excited for the art to get a little bit better the next two issues, where Don Perlin is joined by Howie Perlin, his son, as inker.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, so Howie will be with us for the next two issues, and the art is great in the next couple issues. So I think it was good that Don got some help. He got to work with his son. That had to have been kind of special.
Yeah, maybe they hung out with Vince.
Yeah,
in his limo. Went to some strip clubs or something.
Yeah, Vince is like, Howie, I'll make a man out
cocktail.
of you. Yeah.
So I thought about Weremail, but then I thought better of it.
Okay.
I'm not sure. I think I'm just going to pull a couple things out and not read a whole letter. In this first letter, there's another comment about why does Jack have green pants all the time, which we get it.
Yeah, I get it. I don't care.
It gets weird because he moves on to saying, if you want to give your fans more stuff, how about text paperbacks?
What the fuck does that mean?
Books, like they did, like Spider-Man books in the 80s, like paperback novels.
Oh,
like
yeah.
the Venom,
yeah, okay.
Or the early 90s, I guess.
Yeah.
But I think that's what he's saying. And then he's saying, personally, I go for text paperbacks of The Man Thing, WBN, FF, any of them. But then he goes off and says, and lastly, after reading a couple of his stories, it is my feeling that the Silver Surfer get his own mag. He could team up with a human being, hopefully a normal human being, sort of as a sidekick. He could teach our surfer of the cosmos a little bit about this human race. A suggestion. How about Billy Jack? So I had to check just because I was like He doesn't mean Billy Jack like Tom Laughlin, like the popular character Billy Jack. He does.
Yeah, he does.
He says, what do you think? Wait a minute. Billy Jack ain't normal. Oh, well, how about someone like Rick Jones who starred in the early issues of Hulk? It might not hurt. Anyway, you can always drop him when the Silver Surfer tires of human companionship. Is that making him sound a little snobbish? Sorry to leave this letter hanging like this, even though it deserves it, blah, blah. So they basically are saying in response, like, yeah, Surfer got his own mag now, so whatever. And if you rush, the special Billy Jack issue of Deadly Hands of Kung Fu might still be on sale.
Yeah, I was going to say.
And there was indeed an issue of with Billy Jack.
Yeah. No, I knew that. I actually knew that Billy Jack showed up in one of the Curtis black and white magazines.
Wow,
and
man.
Fucking hilarious.
Wow.
Yeah, awesome.
So that was amusing. Then the guy writes in, he's talking about Hangman. He's a loony. Let's not do that anymore. And morality, he's saying like, I don't see how he's watching these old movies and getting the morality from like Bogey and Cagney's and the Rafts. Because, rarely was their morality very black and white like he's saying it is. So it doesn't even make any sense. But he says, also, Doug, I would think that you have known better, old film references, especially since you appear to know your movies, as witnessed by the title of next issue story, The Amazing Dr. Glitter Knight, an obvious reference to The Amazing Dr. Clitterhouse. Do you know that?
That is not an obvious reference.
Okay. Sounds like a porno, but I'm just...
Is that a porno? It sure sounds like one. You and I both know a lot about old movies, and I am not familiar with that.
Yeah. He signs off by saying, one aspect of the story which I enjoyed and would like to see more of is the werewolf ripping people's faces off.
Wow.
Not many other characters can do this, so I feel it should be played up as one of the distinctive qualities of this mag, okay? So, yeah. So we're not worth reading the whole letters. They're two really long ones, but that was that's what was going on there.
I appreciate your brevity sometimes in the wear mail. Sometimes it can get a little painful.
Yeah, Billy Jack was something.
Billy Jack was something.
I haven't seen that in a long time.
So yeah, we should talk about something that we actually liked.
Yeah, well, our final thoughts redundant.
Were we just talking final thoughts on this?
Yeah, I think so.
I think so.
So how many claws up? It's too late. It's too late to start up a rating system.
Oh, right. We should have done something like that, right? Or is it good that we didn't? I can't.
No, I'm glad we did not. I did not.
That would have been. Yeah,
I was joking.
Werewolf Multimedia.
We watched the fifth. I'm going to stop explaining the asterisk after the enumeration.
Yep.
The fifth of the Paul Naschy werewolf Waldemar Daninsky films, which was called La Noche de Walpurgis. And it is commonly called The Werewolf versus Vampire Woman here. It was free on Prime forever, but it's not. You can find it on Daily Motion in Spanish with no subtitles, which is a nice print. You can find it on YouTube. I found a terrible one that
awful.
They left the auto stabilizer on, which was like an old YouTube thing that's not even around anymore, I don't think. But it would try and correct your home videos that were like handheld cameras. So I got seasick like within like 2 minutes and downloaded a nice one in Spanish, a really nice print with English subtitles. And then I had some mule shine, twice what I normally would have on a work night.
Yeah, that's what I did.
And I went to outer space and had a really hard time following the film. I was stoned out of my mind. So I watched it again today on YouTube, and I found a decent English language dub on YouTube. If you search like Paul Naschy Werewolf versus Vampire Woman retrospective, and retrospective is the name of the channel, you will find one that it actually looks like they tried to put it through a 3D anaglyph filter to make it 3D in post, but it's watchable. The audio is decent and the visuals are okay if you don't mind a little bit of like red and blue tinting at the edges of lines, which is kind of weird. But I had to watch it again right before we started tonight because I don't remember the second half of this at all because I was on the astral plane battling Glorfs and Bligums. Why don't you talk a little bit about it? And first of all, what'd you think? I mean, we liked the first one. We did not like the second two at all. And we were told this fourth/fifth one was the big moneymaker and a fan favorite. So what'd you think?
I really liked it. I consider this the sequel to Mark of the Werewolf. I think just forgetting those other two is what you need to do. You need to just focus on this one. So it was released in 1971. It's directed by Leon Klimovsky, who I didn't read a ton about. He was born in Buenos Aires, worked as a dentist there for years, then moved to Spain in the 50s and became a director who mainly made exploitation films like this. Yeah, I really liked this movie. I thought it was really good. I love the print that you found that had the original Spanish soundtrack on it, but it had subtitles, so it was it was great. I really enjoyed it. And like you said, it stars Paul Naschy as Waldemar Daninsky, and two female leads, Gabby Fuchs as Elvira and Barbara Capel as Genevieve. And yeah, I really liked it. So just the basic setup, like Daninsky's basically resurrected again when this kind of skeptical doctor does a autopsy on his body and removes the silver bullets from his heart. And I like how he's doing this, being like, oh, this stuff is bullshit. They say if you remove the silver bullets, he comes back to life. Isn't that stupid? Yeah. Here, I'm going to do it just so we can see that it doesn't happen. He's kind of like ribbing his friend. So he takes one bullet out, two bullets out, and then the werewolf is resurrected and just slaughters the two guys. And then, goes on a rampage and kills a woman wandering around the forest. But then I love it. After that, it cuts to like a bar, like the swinging bar. And there's this occult researcher named Elvira who tells the story of this 15th century countess named Wandessa, who is a Satanist, sacrificed damsels to Satan, and drank their blood because she's also a vampire. And I guess the Spanish Inquisition tried to bring her to trial, but they all mysteriously died. And then she was found dead, stabbed with this silver cross called the Cross of Mayeza. There's a lot of backstory.
Yeah.
Which I was like,
it's very rich in backstory.
It really was. And so Elvira is saying to her, basically her kind of boyfriend, this cop, that she found a map to this burial site of the Countess that's in the north of France. And she intends to go there and investigate with her friend, Genevieve. And so they arrive at this like abandoned monastery to find Daninsky living there with his sister. And he's, fairly creepy, and he invites them to stay for the weekend. And like the stage is set for either a horror movie or a porno film. Yeah. And it kind of goes both ways, really.
So wait, did I misinterpret? Because I only watched the second half, the part that I didn't remember. I thought they had run out of gas, and that's why they approached him like they were on their way to the burial site, the believed burial site. Yes. But they weren't, they were not far from the burial site. They almost made it there, but then, ran out of gas. Yeah. And I mean, like, Daninsky's not living in the monastery, is he? I thought he was living in his own manor out there.
It's true.
Away from people.
Yeah, it's near there. He's renting
very rustic
an outbuilding in this kind of abandoned part of this monastery. And so no, you're right.
There was a lot for me to like in this. I loved all the, what was her name? Wandessa?
Yeah, Wandessa.
I mean, a satanic high priestess witch turned into a vampire, come back from the dead for revenge. I love that setup. That's totally like Barbara Steele, Mario Bava kind of stuff.
I almost think they tried to cast a woman that looked like Barbara Steele too, a little bit.
Yeah. And I read something that said that after the success of this role, people were saying that she's going to replace Barbara Steele as the next Euro horror queen, but it didn't happen.
She wishes.
Yeah.
No one can replace.
I actually liked her quite a bit, though.
Oh,
I do love Barbara Steele, but I thought this villainess was great.
Oh, she's awesome.
So this achieved some really cool stuff for me as far as this is made in 70, released in 71, like you said, but there were these sequences in here that I don't know how often this was done, but there was 2/3 speed. So in order to make anything with the vampires seem unearthly or strange, they would partially slow it down, or some of the things seem like they were filmed backwards, like the way Twin Peaks will do things like that in the Black Lodge, and they do their actions out backwards and then flip the film around to make it run forwards, and it gives it an unnatural quality. I saw both of those in this that I thought were really weird. What else?
See, for me, it kind of reminded me, because I know both of us have recently watched Cocteau's Beauty and the Beast, and it kind of reminded me of a few sequences in that even.
Yeah.
There's slow-mo,
dreamy.
but yeah, dreamy, but you're right. It's like 2/3 speed or something. It's not a super slow-mo.
No, it's not Zack Snyder speed. And one thing that was very interesting was there was a sequence where Elvira, I had a hard time saying Elvira.
I'm just not going to do it.
But she was like, so they dig up Wandessa's grave, and I think Elvira is the one that's like, I can't be here for this. I can't. This is this is a sacrilege. So I'll be waiting for you at the monastery. And so Valdemar and Genevieve are digging it up, and they crack open the coffin, and the skeleton of the vampire witch is in there. They pull the silver crucifix dagger out of her heart, and then Genevieve cuts her hand, which blood splatters into the skeleton's mouth, which if you've seen any Hammer movies, you know that this shit's fucked. Meanwhile, back at the ruins of the monastery, Elvira's like looking around and she sees this monk. She's like, oh, hey, can you help me find whatever? And it turns around and it's this desiccated corpse thing that attacks her. And then Valdemar shows up and fights it off and stabs it with the crucifix thing. But like, I was reading, like, I think within a year, Armando de Osorio had released Tombs of the Blind Dead. Mm-hmm. And so if you add in the dead monk skeleton, mummified monk body animated, and the slow motion thing, that is basically what Tombs of the Blind Dead is. So I wonder if he saw this at that scene and said, you have to make a whole film of these creepy ass dead monks running around ruins and killing live young nubile 70s Spanish children.
Yeah, well, it makes me wonder, because the more that I read about this, it seems everything that I read first was saying like, this made so much money.
Yeah.
Like that they say that basically like jump started the worldwide love of Spanish horror.
Yeah.
That it just made so much fucking money. And so I can imagine people seeing that and just being like, I'm just going to take a tiny part of this and make a movie and kids will eat it up. Yeah,
I mean, it seemed like Armando de Osorio saw that scene and basically said, how do we make an entire film out of that?
And he did, I guess.
And he did. Yeah. And he made like 4 or 5 films out of it, and I love them. They're awesome. I do love Spanish horror. I prefer Spanish horror to Italian horror personally, but I know that I'm in the minority there. This had some great, like I said, those Oz sequences that were slow. It's very sexy.
Definitely. Some
of the vampiric stuff and the scenes between the women and were very, vampirism is always overtly sexual in my opinion. Like we said before in the show, it either goes the path of like the plague-like rat Nosferatu thing or the oversexed thing, but there's only 2 branching paths of vampirism. Yeah, there were definite shades of the vampire lovers and some of the more, which we saw a fun little preview of that too. Yeah, any of the Ingrid Pitt Hammer vampire movies. 70s vampire Hammer stuff. Yeah, very sexy.
That level of awesome sexiness that everyone loves. How can you not love it? Yeah.
So, I was so excited. And, people were saying, I read online some reviews saying that, like you were saying, that in that last film, Valdemar Daninsky was like a professor or something like that, which is like, they're just non-canon. The second and third films should just be discounted. They're Earth 2, they're Earth 573, whatever. Like they're not this story. This follows La Marca del Hombre Lobo, and that's it. Like they should have just changed the name of the character, like when they dubbed him or something.
Yeah, I know. Like I said at the top of this, it's best to just ignore those middle 2 movies and consider this the actual sequel.
Yeah. So I loved it. I thought it was really fun. I liked it watching it in Spanish, even though it was a little too high to follow the last act, because I was trying to stay, incorporated in one corporeal form. But watched it again tonight and totally dug it. I watch the first one, watch this one. I have very little criticism of it, actually, except for one thing. I don't know what's up in Spain, but guys, I'm willing to help out, like Pentagram Consultant, whatever. Like they get so close. Like there will be a star written on the wall of a tomb. There will be a pentagon, but they never all come together like circle, pentagon, star, like into one goddamn thing.
The thing that's on his chest is just a straight up pentagon.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it's just a pentagon, which happened in that Yeti thing, the Yeti one.
It's
Fury
so
of the
dumb.
Wolfman. It's so stupid.
Yeah, it is.
Renee was watching the last half of it with me tonight while we're eating dinner, and she's like, "He looks like young Marlon Brando meets John Belushi." And
That's
yes,
a pretty good observation.
Yes, he does.
He really does.
I do think he's sexy in a European, leading man kind of way.
Yeah, and we got some really good, painful transformations. The ones that I love so much of Naschy's. So I was totally satisfied. I loved this movie. I thought it was really fun. Yeah,
no, I had a blast with it, and I love that he was. We saw the Spanish uncut version. So the one I watched tonight, which is the English one, which I directed people to on YouTube, is an hour and 21 minutes. The one we watched was an hour and 34 minutes.
Yeah.
So we got nipples, blood flowing over nipples before even the titles started on the Spanish version. This one has no nudity and is a little tamer. But he's still drooling profusely and blood running down his chest when he bites things and stuff. So it's still stuff going on, but it's just like, that dirty sexuality is taken out.
Ugh,
keep all that wholesome violence in there.
Fucking Americans.
Yeah. So anyway, I recommend you check it out.
I loved it. I highly recommend it.
Cool. So the next one, have you done a preview to what the title of the next one is?
Nope. Oh, is it the Dr. Jekyll and the Werewolf?
Yes.
Yes, that's right.
Yeah, I guess it's just Dr. Jekyll El Hombre Lobo. So that's not very imaginative, is it?
No.
So yeah, that'll be the next one. We won't watch that for a bit though. So next week we're going to be actually taking a bit of a break. We're taking a week off so Jacob can take care of some birthday business and do a little bit of family stuff. So we have not had a break yet in the run of the show. I think that's long overdue.
Yeah, I think we've earned it.
Yeah.
No, I appreciate you being cool with me taking a week off.
Yeah. Well, then we will be doing the famous issue number 32 of Werewolf by Night, which is the first appearance of beloved character Moon Knight. And we have a couple guests on there. So I'm really looking forward to that. My friend Andrew's going to be on, and this guy we are going to meet named Ray, who has his own Moon Knight podcast, will be on the show too. So we'll have two Aussies versus two Yanks.
It's going to be great. I'm really excited for it.
Yeah, me too. We got a nice review, by the way, on the Audible page for the show. 5-star review from Revelator 1313. If you listen to the show, Revelator, thank you for that. We appreciate it. And if you want to reach out to us through Instagram or Twitter, you can give us your address and Jacob will send you some buttons.
I would love to.
We'd love to, but we appreciate you taking the time to review the show. Anybody out there who listens and hasn't done that yet, we'd love for you to do that. We're just getting better and better as the show goes on, and we're just barreling towards the ending of the run.
Well, that's how it is. We're going to have everything dialed in the very last episode.
Yep, indeed. But at least it's for Iron Man and Trianaman.
Such a bad ending. Oh.
All right. Well, listeners, thank you for joining us this week. As always, you can shoot us mail at werewolfbynightpodcast@gmail.com. We love to hear recommendations or criticisms or critiques or questions. So we'll be taking a week off, but we'll be back following that with some Aussie Moon Knight action. All right, Jacob, enjoy your week off.
Thank you. I will.
Till we meet again, neath the full moon, furry ones, here's howling at ya.